Hello Cloud Pedagogians, welcome back to the lab course. In today's session, we are going to learn how to work around with Amazon Mission images in AWS. An AMI or Amazon Mission image is a supported and maintained image provided by AWS that provides the information required to launch an instance. You must specify an AMI when you launch an instance. You can launch multiple instances from a single AMI when you require multiple instances with the same configuration. You can use different AMIs to launch instances when you require instances with different configurations as well. In a simplest way, AWS AMIs contains little more than just an operating system. For example, to run a PHP web application, you would need to install Apache Web Server. This can be done automatically using user data or with an automation tool like Chef or Puppet. However, doing it this way extends the wait time for the instance to be ready. Many applications, such as those in auto-scaling environment, need instances ready to use immediately. By creating custom AMIs, we can launch pre-configured instances and skip the wait. So in this lab, we are going to create a custom AMI with Apache already installed. Then we will use the AMI to create a new instance that already has that configuration. To do that, we'll start with the task. In the task 1, we will launch an instance from a standard AWS Linux AMI. In task 2, we will connect to the instance via SSH and manually configure Apache and PHP. In task 3, we will create a custom AMI. In task 4, we will create a new instance from the custom AMI and verify that Apache Web Server is installed correctly or not. Start with the task 1. Launch an instance from a standard AWS Linux AMI. To get started, log into the AWS console page. Make sure you are using US East 1 as your region throughout this lab. Under AWS services at the top, type EC2. You can also find it by opening the services menu and clicking EC2 under the compute header. In the EC2 console dashboard, click Launch Instance. Leave everything as the defaults. Click Create New Pair and enter a key pair name. Click Download Key Pair. Make sure you check whether it is saved, most likely to your downloads folder, because we will need it soon. In the security rules, we need to add an HTTP rule so that we can access Apache. Click Add Rule and select HTTP. This will allow port 80 from anywhere. Leave the rest of the configuration as defaults. Click Launch Instances. On the Launch Status page, click View Instances. Here we will see the status is pending. It may take a few minutes before it changes to running. After a few minutes, if it is still says pending, you can click the refresh icon in the Launch Instance toolbar to see if it's done. Once it changes to running, the description tab below, copy the instance public IP address or public DNS name. Paste it in the text box so that we can use for the next task. Good job, you successfully completed the task 1. In task 2, we will connect to the instance via SSH and manually configure Apache and PHP. First, let me open my terminal. If you are using Windows, you will need an SSH client such as PuTTY. First, we need to lock down the permissions on the SSH key. So enter chmod 400 and the file name. Let's connect to the EC2 instance by SSH command. Make sure to replace the IP address with your EC2 instance public IP address. Paste the IP address which you have copied in task 1. A prompt may ask saying that are you sure you want to continue connecting? Type yes. We should now be connected to the EC2 instance. Now let's do our configuration. First, let's make sure all of our packages are up to date. Next, enter the following bash script to install Apache and PHP. Next, start the Apache server. Set it to start up by automatically at the time of booting as well. Now let's check that our Apache web page will come up if we put our IP address in the browser. Open a new tab and paste in your EC2 instance's public IP address which you copied in the task 1 as well. This should open up a test page. Back in the terminal, let's set up the PHP page. For this, we are going to create a PHP page in HTML folder. We are going to give our user the correct permissions. Let's take the EC2 user and add it to the Apache group. We will also configure the ownership of the directory. Now we should have permissions to create a PHP page in our HTML folder. Let's create. Now let's see if PHP is configured correctly. In the test page window of the browser, add /phpinfo.php after your instance's IP address and press enter. Our PHP page should come up verifying that our instance is properly configured. Good job, you have finished task 2 as well. In task 3, we will create a custom AMI. Let's create our custom AMI. Head back to your instance dashboard in AWS and select your instance. Select actions at the top. In the image and templates, click create image. Enter a name and description for the image. Leave the rest of the default settings. Click create image. You see the closeout of the create image success message pop-ups. In the side under images, click AMIs to watch our images creation progress. We will notice its status is pending. A snapshot is being made of the boot volume and this will take a few minutes. Once the snapshot finishes, it will be registered as an AMI. A custom AMI is private to us. We can then use that to launch more instances. However, note that when we create a custom AMI, it's only usable in that region we created in it. If we needed to use it in a different region, we would have to copy it. We could do that by clicking Actions, selecting Copy AMI, and then selecting a different region. Good job, you have successfully created a custom AMI. In task 4, we will create a new instance from the custom AMI and verify that Apache Web Server is installed correctly or not. Once our AMI status changes to available, we can launch our instance using our new custom AMI. With this method, we won't have to do any configuration to it. We could launch it here, but let's go to the EC2 service so we can see it in the custom AMIs tab. Click Instances in the sidebar and click Launch Instance. On the Choose an AMI Mission image page, click My AMIs tab in the sidebar. We should see our custom AMI listed here. Instead of choosing an AMI from the Quick Start tab like we did earlier, here we will select our custom AMI. Then we will go through the same steps as before. Select the existing key pair. In the VPC, make sure auto assign public IP is enabled. For the security group, select the existing security group. Click review and click launch. In the launch status page, click view instances. Once our instance gets up to the running state, we will make sure everything is properly installed. Select our newly created instance ID. Click description tab below and copy its IP address. Paste it in the browser tab and add /phpinfo.php and press enter. The page should pop up to show everything is working fine. Congratulations, you have successfully completed this lab. We have launched an EC2 instance from a standard AMI containing only an operating system, accessed the instance via SSH, configured it with Apache and PHP, created our own custom AMI from that instance, and then launched an instance from our custom AMI. We also verified that our instance was properly configured. Good going. That's all for now. Meet you again in my next lab. Until then, take care.